माधव कुंज विहारी। राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। गोपी जरा वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जरा वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम राम राम। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद् डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की। ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की, मथुरा धाम की, द्वारकापुरी धाम की, पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की, गंगा में यमुनामयी की, भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की, समावेत भक्त वृंद की। All glories to assembled devotees, All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuhuvanmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Please repeat this verse. Rajovacha Sabya Shrunata Bhadram Vaha Sadhavo Ya Ihagataha Satsu Jignasu Bhirdharmam Avedyam Swamanishritam Rajovacha Sabya Shrunata Bhadram Vaha Sadhavo Ya Ihagataha Satsu Jignasu Bhirdharmam Avedyam Swamanishitam Rajovacha Sabhya Shrunata Bhadram Vaha Sadhavo Yaihagataha Satsu Jignasu Bhirdharmam Avedyam Swamanishitam Rajovacha Sabhya Shrunata Bhadram Vaha Sadhavo Yaihagataha Satsu Jignasu Bhirdharmam Avedyam Swamanishitam Rajovacha Sabhya Shrunata Bhadram Vaha Sadhavo Yaihagataha Satsu Jignasu Bhirdharmam Avedyam Swamanishitam. Matajis Rajovacha Sabya Shranata Bhadram Vaha Sadhavo Jaihagataha Tatsu Jignasu Virdharmam Avedam Samanishitam Raja Uvacha. The king began to speak. Sabyaha, addressing the ladies and gentlemen. Shranata, kindly hear. Bhadram, good fortune. Vaha, your. Sadhavaha, all great souls. Ye, who? Iha, here. Agataha, present. Satsu, unto the nobleman. Jignasubihi, one who is inquisitive. Dharmam, religious principles. Avedyam, must be presented. Samanishitam, concluded by someone. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki. King Prithu said, O gentle members of the assembly, may all good fortune be upon you. May all of you, great souls who have come to attend this meeting, kindly hear my prayer attentively. A person who is actually inquisitive must present his decision before an assembly of noble souls. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. In this verse, the word sadhava, all great souls, is very significant. When a person is very great and famous, many unscrupulous persons become his enemies, for envy is the nature of the materialist. In any meeting, there are different classes of men, and it is to be supposed, therefore, that because Prithu Maharaj was very great, he must have had several enemies present in the assembly, although they could not express themselves. Which means, in this world, if somebody does something great, there will be people who appreciate them, and there will also be people who will be envious of them. And there will be people who will also express active envy by pulling their leg also. Some people express passive envy, some people express active envy also. To either assassinate their character or pull their leg, they may do that. So Prithu Maharaj was a great soul, undoubtedly. He was very chivalrous and heroic and religious, and a personality of great character. And he is a Shaktavasha avatar of Supreme Lord Vishnu. He has appeared. In his Sabha, there were some also atheistic people, because his father Vena was an atheist. So therefore, atheistic Vena had many followers who are now sitting in the assembly also. Maharaj Prithu, however, was concerned with persons who were gentle, and therefore he first addressed all the honest persons, not caring for the envious. Just like we say, the dogs may bark, but the caravan goes on. So sometimes when a dog sees an elephant on the other side of the river walking, he becomes very insecure. He puts his tail between the 2 feet and starts barking. Wow, wow. As the elephant is going, he's also walking along with him. Both are separated by a river. But then the elephant crosses the river with a bridge and comes this side. Now the dog becomes even more afraid. So the dog is running at a distance, he is looking behind, bow, 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 like that is. But the elephant is just, moving his trunk, and he doesn't care for the dog. So that's what he is saying here. Maharaj Prithu, however, was concerned with persons who were gentle, and therefore he first addressed the honest persons, not caring for the envious. Because if you care too much for the envious, then you will become weakened in your determination to do the right things. To institute the good, you need inner willpower. Even our Prime Minister of India was asked in an interview, so many people say so many bad things about you. So how do you tolerate it? How do you take it? So he said, if I pay heed to those things, then I will be weakened. I always pay attention to the right things. What is right should be done. So he did not, however, present himself as a royal authority, empowered to command everyone, for he wanted to present his statement in humble submission before the assembly of great sages and saintly persons. Generally, when someone is given a leadership position, some amount of imaginative, some imaginative thing comes up. One tends to think oneself very great, as if one is, it's called as holier than thou attitude, like a halo around the head. One imagines I am a very important person. I was seeing in Pune during this, what do you call it, Ganesh Chaturthi time. You all know big processions used to go. So one fellow had a truck with a big Ganesh behind. And in the front they had made, not a truck exactly, like a chariot type of thing. Horse-driven chariot. That type of horse-driven chariot. So he was sitting in the front, and behind there was Ganesh with about 20-30 people. His men. And so this fellow got a very big Ganesh, so he's thinking, I am very important also. Huh? Ganesh is big, I am also big. So he's sitting in the front, and then he's doing like this to all the people. And nobody is watching him. He's thinking that everybody is thinking he is important. I was surprised, whom is he wishing? Huh? It was looking like some mock presentation or something. He's practicing to do somewhere else. Yeah, the way he was doing it appears as if large crowds of people are welcoming him. So sometimes a person imagines he is very great. As if he has a halo around the head. Like that. So therefore he is saying here, he did not however present himself as a royal authority. Royal means king. Empowered to command everyone. Actually, he never thought himself to be posted in that post for commanding everybody. For he wanted to present his statement in humble submission before the assembly of great sages and saintly persons. So later on in one verse it will come. He will say that the king is the one who gives orders to the citizens. And the citizens are the ones who execute the instruction. Jai Shri Radha Vandam Bihari ki Jai. And when king gives orders, the orders are approved by the saintly persons. So three people have three different roles. King is supposed to give orders to the citizens based on Varnashrama, what they should do, what they should not do. And the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas who are sitting and watching, they should approve those orders. And they will approve the orders based on Guru Sadhu Shastra. And when those are approved, then the king's instructions are taken by the citizens very seriously, and they implement the instructions, and the whole society goes back to Godhead. So therefore he was not in a mood of being arrogant leader who thought he knows everything. He understood that actually, although I am posted in a royal authority, and he didn't present himself as such. Rather, he told the sages and saintly persons, actually I am giving instruction to citizens, but you are all very learned. So in case there is any mistake in my orders, please correct me. Please rectify me. You can modify my statements, or you can approve my statements. Like that he presented himself. As the great king of the entire world, he could have given them orders, but he was so humble, meek and honest that he presented his statement for approval in order to clarify his mature decision. Actually, being the king is called Naradeva. Deva means Lord Narayana or Lord Krishna. Nara means the king. So Naradeva means a king who represents the Supreme Lord. So therefore in that position he has the right to give orders also. But at the same time he was humble, meek and honest, that he presented the statement for approval. Which goes to show that none of us in this world are independent other than Lord Krishna. Krishna is only Swarat. For example, even the Brahmanas, Vaishnavas are all compared to a cow or a bull who is tied with its rope and being pulled by the farmer. Yatha gavo nasi protas tantyam baddascha namabihi. Like that, there is one verse which says, you have seen in village they put a rope. When you pull it, then the cow or bull has to go. Similarly, the Brahmanas strictly adhere to the scriptures. They are afraid one step this way, that way they will not keep. So, because they are faithful followers of the Supreme Lord, that is how they earn the spiritual strength to give order and advice to the king. So the Brahmanas are under the Supreme Lord and scriptures, and the kings are under the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and the citizens are under the king. Similarly, in a family, the husband, he has to be under the guru, and the wife is under the husband's guidance, and the children are under the custody of the parents. Who is independent, tell me? Except Krishna. That nobody is independent. And the lower animals like horses, cows, bulls, donkeys, pet cat, pet cats and dogs, everybody, all are under human beings. So in this world, nobody is independent. Only person independent is Krishna, Supreme Lord. And he is also surrendered to pure devotees. So even he is also not keeping himself independent. Actually, he is independent. Out of love, he becomes subordinate to pure devotees also. So therefore, anybody posted in leadership should never think they are independent. I am autonomous. And when one thinks like that, that is where the Govardhan Leela happens. Correct. Who thought I am autonomous? Indra thought. Actually, many times when people are put under us, I may tend to think that these people are under me. They are supposed to follow me. I am like the engine and they are all like the bogies. I am leading these people. We tend to think like that. But actually, people are under us. But when we become autonomous and independent, then people will put us on the side and they will follow somebody above us. And if that person also doesn't follow, they'll put aside and they'll follow above. And it has happened. Like in India, if you see, women were very faithful to their husbands. Faithfully following the husband. Children faithfully followed the parents and the teachers also. But eventually you see, when there is a corruption that enters the system, when the husband became drunkards, smokers, when the husband started having adultery with, because wife is submissive, they thought they can also enjoy other women other than wife. Then the husbands became irresponsible. They became jobless. They started demanding wife to bring more dowry. They started beating the wives. Some of the places, they even burned the wives. When such kinds of things happened, then the women understood, my lord, this fellow is supposed to be a Rakshak, he is becoming Bhakshak. He is exploiting us. So they thought we have to go to school and college. And so they started going for jobs. They started standing on their own leg. Without depending on and many of the women actually got their daughters married, sons settled. There are women who took the lead for the whole family, while the husband is a drunkard and smoker and good for nothing fellow. It has happened like that. And that is how the women started demanding equal rights. They said that we will not follow the man because the man is not a man of high character, he is not a devotee of the Lord. Why should we follow him? Because he will mislead us. He is himself degrading, he will degrade us also. Then women wanted independence as well as equal rights. And then India also became like westernized India gradually over a period of time. Now women cannot be blamed because women had to do that due to the dire need of the situation when man fails in his duty. Same thing when you go to the Gurukula, if you go to the villages now, even today, the children who come to the school, they actually touch the feet of the teacher. In the morning, as soon as they come, Guruji, they have a lot of respect for the Guruji. But sometimes it is seen Guruji himself is characterless. Sometimes he's a teacher, he's telling the students, hey, bidi leke aao. So then he's saying, my lord, Guru is asking for bidi. So the children talk amongst themselves. If this is the way the teacher is, he is having no character, why should we respect him? Or the teacher wants to marry one of the students only. He is showing a bad eye towards one of the students, like a teacher is seeing badly towards a girl in the class. And so then people lost respect for the teacherhood or parenthood or husbandhood. Because they all start having hoods like nagas. They became like snakes, creating trouble. So this is very dangerous. So therefore, you find here, why I am reading this purport? Because here we get an idea about how anyone who is put in the role of a leader, he has to be humble, meek and honest. And he has to, we are under GBC, we are under zonal supervisors, we are under presidents of the temples, and in many temples there are also TMCs, temple management councils, and somebody may be made a counselor or a preacher or whatever. Under several authorities are there. ISKCON is a very big society, and all these people are working under Srila Prabhupada. So, nobody is independent in the society. One amazing phenomenon you will find in the society. If a leader commits mistake, he'll be, many times leaders committed mistake and they were out of the system and the system goes on. Taka, 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 it keeps going on. You will see. In the old order changes, yielding place to new. In Ulysses there is a song. He says this, which means if like any of you have experienced, one day you got little late for Mangalarti, you may come in the 5th or 6th paragraph, but already Mangalarti goes on. You've seen that? And it's not going to wait for us. Similarly, the society is not going to wait. Either we fit in properly in the mood of a proper leader, and if we become arrogant, driven by false ego, if we pull ourselves out, the society is not going to stop, because this society is empowered by Lord Chaitanya. He is saying, Piti Vitya Chedi, Nagaradi Gram, Sarvatra Pracharam. That vision is going to become true. If we can actually fit ourselves into the vision and go along with it, and if we become arrogant, then we become filled with resistance for the mercy which is flowing from the Guru Parampara to the world through us. Then if we allow the Parampara, then we have to become a good conductor, not have resistance for the mercy to flow. So therefore we are learning these verses from the example of the great soul, Prithu Maharaj. As a great king of the entire world, he could have given them orders, but he was so humble, meek and honest that he presented his statement for the approval in order to clarify his mature decision. Everyone within this material world is conditioned by the modes of material nature and therefore has 4 defects. But although Prithu Maharaj was above all these, still like an ordinary conditioned soul, he presented his statements to the great souls, sages and saintly persons present there. Which means sometimes actually he was not a leader of one small unit or something like that. He was leader of which place? Entire world. Entire world was ruled by him. So some of us may be made leader for some small place. And in that place also there are many other seniors. Some are Vayo Vriddha, some are Jnana Vriddha, some are Bhakti Vriddha. Correct, no? So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his teachings, once talks about 8 types of respect. You can see this one. See what he says? He says, Naramatra Maryada, he says. That means if somebody has a human body, you should respect him. Why we have to respect him? Because he has? Yeah, because human form is also very rare. And Sabbhyatara Maryada. Somebody is not a cannibal, but a gentleman with some material good qualities. Like, how many of you have seen people who are gentlemanly in speech, although they may not be devotees? Correct? No? Yeah. So the Sabbhyatara Maryada is a cultured man, cultured woman. We can respect them for that. Because if we respect them for their good qualities, tomorrow they may become devotee also. Yeah. You may say, what is the use of your good qualities? You are not a devotee. If you say like that's not a very good outlook. Some good qualities they have, then one should think, oh, they are so humble, so gentle, likely they may become devotees tomorrow. And once they become devotees, the same quality will be very helpful. I have seen some people, how many of you observed this? Some people are materially very responsible to wife and children and parents and to their company. They will do it very faithfully, whatever they take up. You have seen people like that? Correct, no? Yeah. But devotional service, big zero. They don't know anything. But because of this being so responsible, they are very loud also in their circle. People, family people say, oh, there's such a good person in the family, is most loud for their material responsibility. But once they hook on to devotional service, the same thing will come in Krishna consciousness and they will go sky high, very fast they will go. So the material good qualities can become transformed to spiritually good qualities provided they come in good Sangha. Third one is Raja Maryada. Like when Sanatana Goswami was reading Bhagavatam with other Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. At that time when Raja was suspicious, Nawab Shah, he arrived suddenly. He opened the door and came in. Immediately Sanatana Goswami stood up. All the Brahmanas also stood up. They all folded their palms and welcomed the king. There Prabhupada says, although he was a cow flesh eater, Mlecha, still they respected him because he was holding the post of a king. That is Raja Maryada. The Raja is actually a representative of the Lord. And Sanatan told him, you see, I have been working under you for some time now. You know, I have to study Bhagavatam. And you are a Raja. Whatever punishment you wish to give, you may give. I respect you as a representative of the Supreme Lord. And the king Nawab Shah very deeply loved Sanatana Goswami. Actually, out of the two, Rup Sanatan, he had a thicker relationship with Sanatana Goswami. And that is why Rupa Goswami said, I will go ahead. You can come later. And also Sanatan wanted to also have some technique by which he can come out of that loving bond in which Nawab Shah wanted to keep him. Nawab Shah used to call him like a brother. He had a lot of faith in him. Actually, in this world, it's very rare to find trustworthy people. You may sometimes have a friend whom you trust more than blood relatives also. We have experience of that, isn't it? So he trusted Sanatan like that. So therefore, he wanted to personally come and check with him. Because of interaction, he had developed, Sanatana Goswami developed such a bond with anybody because of such a personality he was. So therefore he told him, see, if you want, you can punish me. As a king, you have the right, he told him. So he dealt with him very respectfully, that's the point. See, Vidya Maryada. If somebody is learned, say somebody is a doctorate, we should not criticize them saying that, what is the use of your big doctorate, all zeros? If you say like that. See, all zeros is told in some context. Not in the context you catch a doctorate and say you are a zero. You don't say like that. Actually, if he is a doctorate, and that means certainly he must be an intelligent person, correct, no? If he has earned a doctorate. So you should find out how his doctorate intelligence can be dovetailed in Krishna service. So Gauranga Prabhu is doing BRC, Bhaktivedanta Research Center. Everywhere he is bringing doctorates here and there and then connecting them. Some of them are going to be guides for other people. Actually, Gauranga Prabhu and his team are going all across the country and identifying big fellows who are becoming favorable to ISKCON and connecting them to BRC so that later on many ISKCON devotees can get doctorates and work in schools, colleges and such places, and they can actually do a Brahminical service and without having to slog 16 hours a day. So, and Guna Maryada means, actually this is good qualities, moral behavior. What was the earlier one? Sabhitara means cultural. Culture means what? Dealings, behavior. Whereas here Guna means qualities. Like for example, somebody is a very strong moralist. Like Gandhi was a very strong moralist. Although spiritually he was not very well informed of certain things. So Prabhupada still appreciated him for his character. And Varna Maryada. For example, the Puri Brahmanas, they are at a higher Varna. Sometimes people going to Jagannath Puri may criticize some of their behavior, which should not be done. This I heard from His Grace Madhavananda Prabhu. He said that example. So he says that, if somebody, like you go to Radha Kund, for example, there will be some Brahmanas there who will come and say, we will do puja for you, pay this money, pay that money. We have to be very careful not to criticize them. You can just keep quiet and say thank you, and push on. But if you criticize them, they are also Vrijabasis. It's very dangerous for us. It's like playing with fire. It may become offensive. So if you're going, if they're very much, and then after coming out of Radhakund also, you should not talk about them. Where these fellows are harassing. Because it's very difficult to know. Some of them may have a good intention of seeing that you get the benefit of doing puja also. You don't know exactly. One time, His Holiness Dhanurdhar Swami Maharaj was going to different temples, and I also happened to be around. I also went to those 3-4 temples in Vrindavan. So one place, there were 3 Maharajas. Along with him, 2 more were there. So and there was one Yatra coordinator for the 3 of them, and I also happened to hang around with them. So the Yatra coordinator had told the Maharajas that when don't give money anywhere, and I will give on behalf of all of you. Otherwise, they will ask everybody like that. Somehow when they went to the temple, Maharaj took out some 200 rupees in his hand like this. And then the Pujari who was receiving, of course, that Yatra coordinator gave him some money. And Maharaj had this 200 in the hand, and the Pujari was about to receive it. And this coordinator was telling, hey, don't touch that money, don't take that money. I am giving you on their behalf, he said. You know what Pujari said? If a jiva has developed a desire to serve, you should not come in between. He said, see, he has taken out the money and he wants to give it to the Lord. Why are you coming in between? He asked him. Then immediately the coordinator became frozen. And he took it and he offered. So sometimes we may not know the attitude of the people, what is going on in their mind. So therefore, somebody is of a greater varna, then we respect also. Ashram Maryada. Prabhupada was once going in Chattikara street, some Mayavadi sannyasis were coming on the opposite side, and Prabhupada looked at them, smiled, they also looked at Prabhupada and Prabhupada, Hare Krishna, Prabhupada said, they said, Namo Narayana, they're saying. And the devotees are all gritting their teeth, Mayavadi, like that. Yeah. Prabhupada said, why are you not offering respect? Prabhupada said, they are also sannyasis. Sannyasis should be given respect. Yeah. And then there is Bhakti Maryada. So when Parashara was a small boy, just 7-year-old boy, he was sitting in the lap of his father in the assembly. And then Markandeya Rishi entered that sabha. And then he saw Parashara and offered a big Ashtanga Pranam to him. And Parashara felt very uneasy. In the public is offering me such a big obeisances. And Markandeya Rishi is a very great soul. So he told Markandeya Rishi, you lived through millenniums. How is it that you are offering me obeisances? I am such a small boy. I am feeling ashamed. Markandeya said, what are you talking? Your intelligence and devotion surpasses the intelligence and devotion of all the assembled people in the assembly today here. Yeah, you may look like a small boy, but you are very exalted. I can't avoid offering obeisances to you. So, in this way, you can see that in the path of devotion service, we have some reason to offer obeisances to everybody. Like in Pune, we have a head pujari who is Rupa Goswami Prabhu. He is from Chowpatty only. He was the head pujari in Chowpatty temple before. And then Maharaj sent him to Pune. When I went, myself and him, we both went to Pune. So, many times he will tell Radheshampur is president of the temple. So, whatever he decides only we should do. Like that he will say. And I will say that, I will tell the decision tomorrow. And then in the evening I will go and meet him. I will ask him, Prabhuji, what do you want to do? Then he will say, Prabhuji, this is the best decision, he will tell. He will say that, according to my estimation. So next day I will announce that. Later on, Rupa Goswami will say, why you are announcing my decision? You should have taught and told. I will say, you are such a senior man. You lived in Gurukula and you are very dear to Maharaj. I don't have anything opposed to your decision. So I have a reason to respect him because he is senior to me. In terms of, I came in 91, he came in 87 or 88. You got connected. And he has reason to respect me because he thinks I am holding a post. So he has to only do what I tell him. Correct, no? So in this way, in Vaishnava circle, we always have some reason to consider others as superior to us. Correct, no? So you will find it, if you look around, everybody has something out of these 8 for which you can respect them very easily. Yeah. So, everyone within this material world is conditioned by modes of material nature and therefore has 4 defects. But although Prithamaraj is above all these, still like an ordinary conditioned soul, he presented his statements to the great souls, sages and saintly persons present there. So I was planning to read a few verses, after which one of the very important things will come. See what he says here, amazing. Please repeat. Aham dandadharo raja prajanamiho yojitaha rakshita vrittidasveshu setushu stapita pratak. King Prithu continued, by the grace of the Supreme Lord, I have been appointed the king of this planet, and I carry the scepter to rule the citizens, protect them from all danger, and give them employment according to their respective positions in the social order established by Vedic injunction. So the duty of the leader is, first duty of the leader is to recognize that it is not owing to my qualification, I am the king. It is due to Krishna's grace, I am the king. This is the first thing one should recognize. Because you will find many, many qualified people in this world who are not given that post. Like I have seen, I personally had friends who were such amazing singers, and they were singing exactly like Balasubramaniam in South India, They can sing exactly like him, but somehow they could not come to the top like him. How many people come to Bombay to become actors, actresses, solo singers? You know that? Guitar players, drum players, people come. But do you think everybody makes it to the top? No. So those who make it to the top and become real stars, or moons, or whatever you may call them. So those people are actually blessed by the Lord to occupy that position. In the same manner, you will find also in YouTube sometimes somebody may be actually a very, very powerful speaker. But they may be just, you will find 500 people, 1,000 people will be there. Many people don't even know. Because people will only know if Lord wishes that this person be known. Now somebody may say, but what about Purva Janma Punya Karma? Purva Janma Arjita Punyam Agre Davati Davati. Due to the Punya, somebody may be shining in life. But even if you have Punya in the previous life, the sanctioner of what you are getting now based on that Punya is Lord Krishna only. Like, we say good luck. If there is good luck, there should be good luck awarder. If there is bad luck, there must be the bad luck awarder. In a company, promotion falls from the sky or somebody gives it. If you do some good work also. Correct, no? Similarly, demotion, promotion, firing from the job, everything is done by somebody above. These are not by chance. Like all of you are here, is it by pre-arrangement or suddenly you are here? Pre-arrangement. Everything is pre-arranged. Like that, you will see that. So therefore, even if one is qualified, one shouldn't think that I am actually eligible for this post. I had the skill, I had this talent. I think people have, intelligently recognized my skill. Therefore, they have posted me in this post. One should not think like that. Actually, one should think that by the grace of the Supreme Lord, I have got a golden opportunity now to render service to Hari Guru and Vaishnavas. So I should take full advantage of this opportunity. Just like if you see in Udupi, for example, they have this paryaya, 3 years or so paryaya. So every acharya who takes the paryaya for that period, they will roll the sleeves and want to do something very good during that period. Like one of the acharyas did Gita Mandir, you know that? If you go to Udupi, you will see that. All the 700 shlokas are written on the wall. Very, very beautiful, amazing spiritual edifice. Similarly, another acharya, when he was paryaya, he got a golden chariot for Udupi Krishna. Small golden chariot he got for the Lord like that. So every person who comes, they think this is a 3-year period I am given. I should do my best. Just like in Rotary Club and Lions Club also, they have only 1-year period. You can be president for 1 year. In ISKCON, if you become president, you are president for life. Till your last breath. When you are in Samadhi, they will leave you. Generally, we have been going on. Yeah, of course, I am telling it has been like that in the past, but now things will change now. Eventually, our society is fastly growing and we have many, many more people taking leadership. Of course, if you don't commit mistake, we used to say, this is Radha Gopinath Prabhu, in ISKCON, you become senior by just staying in ISKCON. He has seen years. That's called? If you don't quit, if you don't do any blunder, immediately people say, senior devotee, senior devotee. I used to say like that. So I was telling you that when, what was the last point I made before this? Paryaya festival, yeah. So Rotary Club I was telling, and Lions Club under 1-year period they are given. So you will see every month meeting is a vibrant meeting. And who makes it vibrant? The person who is given that opportunity. He will come up with ideas and different leaders actually come up with very good plans and they will put up, flow charts and everything and plan. Because they work very hard. They know that after 1 year somebody else will come. So during my period, let me do well. Like that. Same is true for many of us, many of the leaders. We are given some time period in which one should do good. But one should know that who has given me this appointment of leadership? By grace of the Supreme Lord. And then he's saying, for what purpose Lord has given me this opportunity? To protect them from all danger, protect the praja from all danger. And that's the second thing he's saying. That means he says, what is that? Prajanam Pitruvatsalaha. he says. Huh? One should see the praja like the father sees the sons. Like that one should see. Like that he says. That's the way our Prithu Maharaj was seeing the citizens. To protect them from all danger. Just like parents are concerned about providing a protector, provider and guide. You say, no? That's a duty of a king also. You should provide for the citizens, grains, accommodations, food, clothing, shelter, as we say. That is a very material need. Therefore, in Bhagavatam, you will see all the three are mentioned. Mangalaya cha lokanam kshemaya cha bhavaya cha. Three words are used there. Bhavaya means material welfare. Kshemaya means liberation from miseries. And Mangalaya means Krishna Prem. So, king should actually arrange for all the three. He should provide for the material welfare. He should provide for liberation from miseries. And also, you should arrange for Brahmanas and Vaishnavas to teach the Krishna Prema, the Shuddha Bhakti also. So, to relieve the people of the miseries, what the king does, he performs yajna, sacrifices. And when Lord is pleased, yajnat bhavati parjanyo. Yajna karma samudbhava. So, yajnat bhavati parjanyo is actually when the rains shower, then the Prakriti becomes very, very green and beautiful. Flowers are blooming and fruits are ripening and rivers are full of water. The cows' udders are full of milk. The nature has, gold and silver and diamond in the mountains, and the ocean has navaratnas. So then the Lord's merciful glance comes on the nature when Lord is pleased with the king's sacrifice. So now what happens when the people become very greedy and they don't perform yajna, they don't perform sacrifice? The result of the greed you will find, instead of cultivating, wheat or rice, they will mostly cultivate cash crops, like sugarcane or tobacco. So I asked this question: if you get in tobacco yearly 20 lakhs, and in sugarcane you get 15 lakhs, and rice you get only 10 lakhs. So I asked, how many of you will go for rice? Very few, 3-4 people raised hand. How many of you will go for tobacco? That also 5-6 people raised hand. And how many will go for sugarcane? Maximum. They raised the hand. Because in India, people think that I should make also a lot of money without hurting others also. Then I asked them, but can you eat sugarcane every day, 3 times a day? You need rice, you need chapati. They said, Prabhu, we will put sugarcane, earn a lot of money and we will buy rice from somebody. There will always be some fools who will make rice. We'll take from them. Like that, who thinks? Who thinks like that? Everybody thinks. Because when man becomes greedy, then there is a scarcity of food, like this. On the other hand, when people do yajna for the Lord, they have no greed. They know that I have to leave this body, I have to please the Lord, purify my heart, and then they will be happy to perform, they'll be happy to produce wheat and rice and everything, which is stable food for many. Therefore, the modern society is suffering from lack of food and things like that, mainly because people are becoming greedy and people are forgetting to. But if they do yajna for the Lord will give them sadbuddhi. Instead of going for tobacco and sugarcane, they will go for rice. Therefore, Lord in the heart will inspire them to produce rice and wheat. There will be abundance. See, amazing. Vedic economics is so amazing. That means the nature is producing so many nice things, not because man is controlling it. Because Lord has blessed man based on the principle of yajna. That's the point. So therefore, the king can relieve the people of the material miseries also by providing for them like this. And then he should arrange the Vaishnavas to preach the path of Krishna Prema or the Bhagavata Dharma, by which the citizens can become pure devotees also. And he himself should be a follower of such Vaishnavas. That is the king's duty. Actually, if you see, when Yudhishthira Maharaj became the king, Sutta Goswami was asked by Shaunaka Rishis, oh really? Now Yudhishthira became the king. After he became king, what was his behavior? They asked, what was his behavior towards, the citizens, towards Kauravas, other people, towards this Rashtra and other people. So they wanted to know whether Yudhishthira Maharaj remained a man of high character, noble soul, after occupying the post. It is said, if you want to test the character of somebody, give him money and give him post. Then you will come to know, who is who. So, Prabhupada says the purport is, a king is supposed to be appointed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to look after the interests of the particular planet. On every planet, there is a predominating person, just as we now see in every country there is a president. If one is president or king, it should be understood that this opportunity has been given to him by whom? By the Supreme Lord. According to the Vedic system, the king is considered a representative of Godhead and is offered respects by the citizens as God in the human form of life. Actually, according to Vedic information, Supreme Lord maintains all living entities, especially human beings, to elevate them to the highest perfection. And then Prabhupada is saying all these things, okay? And then he goes on. And what is the duty of a king? See, here Prabhupada says here, this is the duty of the king. He says that it's the duty of the government to re-establish social order, means Varnashrama. The king's first duty, as soon as he occupies the post, is immediately sort out the society as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and make them become involved in doing their respective duties. The Brahmana should study the Shastra, preach the Shastra, perform yajna, teach the people yajna, live only on charity, and give excess charity and charity to others. Similarly, the Kshatriyas, they should join the king in the army. Similarly, the Vaishyas should do Krishi Goraksha, Vanijyam and all these things. And if you seriously think why this is said, the psychophysical nature, if it is not engaged, an idle man's mind is a devil's workshop, very dangerous. So if people are not engaged, what happened in India when one of the first prime ministers of India, he went to the Srirangam temple and saw the 7 big walls, and then his face became very small. He told his people, I wish this whole area is converted into industrial enterprise. Like that he said. Instead of temples, we should have more industries. Like that he said. So when industrial revolution started in India, they brought the tractors. And the tractors were brought to the field. They will plow very fast. Then the bulls went out of job. They were sent to slaughterhouse. You will see that. Yeah. And then the farmers went out of job because the tractor was very fast. Even there is also seed sowing also in tractor. You know that? You can sow the seeds in helicopters, you can sow the seed also. After that, harvesting also tractor can do very fast. Cut. It has blade also. You can cut and bring everything. Everything was done by machines. So the farmers went out of job. Then what do you think the farmers did? The farmers started playing cards. Yeah, they started drinking. They started smoking. And because they were eating well and they were having atta body, so then they formed political groups. Because you have to beat somebody. Because you have strength. If you don't plow in the field and do hard work, your hands are itching. Just like Karthavirajan had 1,000 hands. He wanted to beat up somebody. Correct, no? Then they were pulling the hands of other men's wives. Because they became jobless, workless. Correct, no? So in villages you find even today sometimes political groups are formed. People form political groups, fight with one another. In fact, if one politician comes to post, he kills the other person. You've seen that? They kill also. Just because other person couldn't come to the top, he kills him. You can imagine. People become so aggressive like this. So, bull became jobless, went to slaughterhouse. Men became jobless, they became corrupt in their behavior and everything. And when machines were doing everything. And then when man... gradual industrialization increased, everybody understood where is money? In the city, in the industry. So money is honey. So everybody, because they thought village life is slow, they went to the... Actually, one man used to live in Bombay. When he came to Pune, within 1 week he left Pune and went to Bombay job again. He said, I'm used to running fast. In Pune, I want to run, but there's too much space for running. Other people are not running like me. You've seen in Dadar how people run? Everybody carrying suitcase, baga, very, very fast. You have to catch the train. Imagine if a train is khali, they get tension. How a train can be so khali? We are used to going in a hanging train. So, people went into fast-paced life. My Guru Maharaj gave one beautiful lecture when he came to Pune. He was telling when a man went to city and built a skyscraper building, 100-story building or 80-story building, he's sitting in the top, but he's passing stool. How will the stool go out? So stool and urine will be transported by pipes out of the city. And then don't have any water. How will you get water? Then from the village, water comes in pipes. And you have no milk. How will milk come? Trucks, milk trucks. What about vegetables grown in villages? Vegetable trucks. What about grocery? Grocery trucks. For all these trucks, Ashok Leyland, how will they make the trucks? Then started glass industry, because you need glass for the trucks. Then paint industry, for painting the trucks. Then rubber industry for the tire. Correct, no? In this way, many industries started. After that, he was selling. Then you need gasoline. Where is it available? The gasoline is in Gulf. For bringing it, you need what industry? Aeronautics industry. Then the aeroplane industry came. That he was selling. So he was selling, this is how the industry is multiplied. Actually, this is a good joke, because it's exactly very similar to that story of the brahmachari who was troubled by a rat. For the rat, he got a cat. For the cat, he got cow, correct? That is how, now they're saying, we are advancing in now technology. But who told you to advance? You are advancing because you didn't want to live in the villages. You wanted to come to city. When he came to city. That is how they are very proud of the revolution. What revolution? It's the revolution of getting entangled. We will give you a gold medal for getting entangled. That is the revolution. This is because of the foolish leaders who actually cheated the masses. 75% of India lived in villages. Now they say it's 45%, they say. Then you have come to urban situation. So people in village want to go to city, people in city want to go to America, people in America want to go to moon or some other planet. Everybody, and money is honey. So that's why, as he says here, people should have activities pertaining to their Varna. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Like you will see here, in ISKCON society, it's naturally happening. Those who are inclined to study of Shastra, even the boys who are engineers and doctors and chartered accountants, when they come here, when they study the Shastra and preach, they become completely satisfied. Because it's very natural for them. And then there are administrators who have a desire to administrate. Then there is also opportunity for leadership. Then there are people who are eager to bring money and spend money. There is opportunity given for them according to their. And there are other people who don't want to take any particular risk. If you are given some service, they will do. And they are ready to fit in one of these three. And they very happily do service. So, although in our society, clear-cut division and all has not been made, that Varnashrama may take time. But you will find that Daivi Varnashrama system actually, naturally makes the devotees flow towards a certain service, and we have opportunity. You can see that, and how happy devotees can be. So this is one of the duties of a king as soon as he occupies the post. The first duty I told you, it is recognize that I am given the post of king by the grace of the Supreme Lord. That was one of the things that was said. And you should also look towards the praja like a father looks towards the children. And he should delight the opportunity that he is given, the opportunity for entering service. So service is a privilege. Service is, one should see that this is actually a service. The service is an opportunity. It is not a privilege for enjoying. Like somebody thinks, if I have this post, what all will I get? People ask, no? How much salary increment I will get, and will I get my own chartered plane? Will I get this? Will I get that? People ask. So, His Holiness Bhaktisaraj Maharaj used to say, the post is not a privilege for enjoying the perks and incentives. But the post is an opportunity for service. So you should see like that. You should see, and also you should actually report to the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas and ensure that he is walking the right path. You should know nobody is independent except Krishna. So all these things the king should know. And then as soon as he takes up the responsibility, he should allot services to all the people in his custody, so that everybody is engaged very happily. See, when everybody is engaged, they do something wonderful. When others appreciate them, they become satisfied. Yeah. And also Prabhupada says, not only you should care for the human beings, but also animals also. Like that he says, yeah. Tasya me tad anushtanat yanahur brahmavadinah lokasya kama sandoha yasya tushyati dishtadrak. Maharaj Prithu said, I think that upon the execution of my duties as king, I shall be able to achieve the desirable objectives described by experts in Vedic knowledge. This destination is certainly achieved by the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the seer of all destiny. Which means he says that if a leader performs his duties perfectly, he will go back home back to Godhead. And the citizens become his perfect followers, then they will also go back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, that's what he's saying here. Ya uddaret karam raja praja dharmeshu ashikshayan prajanam shamalam bhunkte bhagam cha swam jahati saha. Any king who does not teach his citizens about his respective duties in terms of varna and ashrama, but who simply exacts tolls and taxes from them, is liable to suffer for the impious activities which have been performed by the citizens. In addition to such degradation, the king also loses his own fortune. So what is the tolls and taxes that we get? We get people's vanchakalpatarubhesha. People offer obeisances to us as senior devotee, as somebody holding a position. People may respect us. So if I receive respect but I don't give them good instruction, then it is like one way. Correct? Like purohit. You know the word purohit? Like I am going to somebody's home. That's called pura. And hit means do some good for them. Like if somebody calls me to their house, one grihastha told me, Radhakrishna Prabhu, I know you are very busy. Just come to our home, eat prasadam, you can push off. No problem. You don't have to do anything. So I asked, how can you say this? They said, yes, Shastras say the mouth of Brahmanas is like the Yajna Kund. Lord Vishnu says, put prasadam there. Open a mouth. Take prasad there. It is like a basketball. You eat prasad and you push off. You don't expect anything. I said, see, you call me to give a lecture and kirtan and don't give me any prasad, no problem. Because that is my duty. If you will do your duty, you will go back to Godhead, I will go to hell. Isn't it? So you should allow me to also do. They no, Prabhuji, I understand, but you are very busy. Yes, if I am busy, then I will only give lecture, not eat prasad. Because by that I will be delivered, you will be delivered, both will be delivered. If I eat prasad, then actually if you eat prasad, you are taking their karma also. So they will get elevated. And how will you nullify that karma? By giving a lecture and kirtan, by which you benefit them. Pura hit, that's called pura hit. So therefore he is saying, if citizens, therefore a king who does not train, who does not engage, who does not educate or empower his people, that king is heading towards hell. If he is simply sitting in that seat and just eating and sleeping and enjoying all the royal delights, at the end of life, Yamadutas will come. Come, you enjoyed well, come now. Now we will give you another enjoyment now. So it's a duty of a king to ensure that as long as you are holding the position, to train, so therefore you call it a TEEE formula, train, educate, engage, empower. So you will find Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was actually training his brothers based on religious principles. And you will find Bhima and Arjuna, they were stalwart warriors, indefeatable warriors. And Yudhishthira Maharaj was indefeatable in dharma. Such a wonderful family it is. You can see that, Pandava family. So that's what he is saying, Prabhupada is saying here. A king, governor or president should not take the opportunity to occupy the post without also discharging his duty. You see? He must teach the people within the state how to observe the divisions of varna and ashrama. If a king neglects to give such instructions and is simply satisfied with levying taxes, then those who share in the collection, namely all the government servants and head of the state, are liable to share the impious activities of the general masses. And then Prabhupada is saying, for example, if one eats in a place which is sinful, he shares the resultant reactions of the sinful activities performed there. And then Prabhupada is saying here, see what he says here. It is Vedic system, therefore, for a householder to call Brahmanas and Vaishnavas to eat at ceremonial performances in his house, because the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas can immunize him for sinful activities. But it is not the duty of rigid Brahmanas and Vaishnavas to accept invitations everywhere. See, amazing, no? Grihastha should invite Brahmanas, Brahmacharis, Vaishnavas for prasad, and it is not that the Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, Brahmacharis should be eager to all the time go for prasad, because they are going to immunize the sinful reactions. So that is possible by yajna. So there are many subtle laws which is practically unknown to people in general, like that he says. So after that, there is one very important section comes, I will not go into that, which is a very good teaching of, see, this is chapter 21 of the 4th canto. So after this, when Prithu Maharaj will give instruction to the citizens, very, very amazing instructions he will give, Prithu Maharaj. He will give instructions on how in this world, there is one Supreme Lord who is the operator of the cosmic machine. And all the jivas have different face cuts because he has given them different bodies and different type of facilities, amenities, different face cuts according to the karma. So he is the supreme. And some of the atheistic people might have questioned Prithu Maharaj, how do you say God exists? So this is the one he used. He said, for every action there should be equal and opposite reaction. So he very beautifully explained that. And Prabhupada says, atheistic person means out of dharma, artha, kama, moksha, he chooses only two, artha and kam. He chooses these two. And in the pious people's lives, they do dharma for artha and they use artha for kama. And when they get fed up with kama, they want moksha. But Prabhupada says, a devotee of the Lord means he performs, his dharma is what dharma? Bhagavata dharma. He does. And what does he do with the artha that he gets? Engages in Krishna arte akila cheshta. Only for Krishna's purpose he will use. And he will engage all his desires, he will transform them into spiritual desires. Kamasya na indriya priti, he will do. And moksha vancha, he gets rid of it. Because moksha vancha is good for nothing. He doesn't want to relax, he wants to engage in Krishna's service. So all that will come in the next purport, you all can read further. I just wanted to kindle some interest in this chapter. It's a very important chapter, and Prithu Maharaj's teachings are very, very extraordinary. His teachings are so beautiful. One verse I will say and conclude the talk. Charu chitrapadam shlakshnam gudam vrishtam aviklavam sarvesham upakarartam tada anuvadan niva. Like that there is a verse. Charu chitrapadam means he spoke such sweet words, and they were full of examples, analogies, stories, and wise words from the ancient scriptures and everything. And his words were with such a clarity, it came out of his mouth. Precise words in the right places he spoke. It was like Akashaganga flowing down. So purely he spoke. Sarvesham upakarartam. It benefited all the praja who had assembled there, and they all glorified him. That the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas also, sadhu, sadhu, jai, jai, everybody glorified Prithu Maharaj for his speech. They said, everything you spoke, how can we find any fault in what you said? They said, everything you spoke is perfect. And it is for the mangal or the auspiciousness of all the citizens. And for all of us and for yourself also. So they very profusely glorified him. So from Prithu Maharaj's teachings, we can learn many lessons for our leadership also. In our own centers. So these lessons are they are all immortal words of Srimad Bhagavatam. We can take it, apply it and benefit in our life also. Srila Prabhupada ki, our Bhakta Vrinda ki. Okay, I can take some question, 15 minutes. A king being an administrator have an independent decision making ability, or should he completely depend on Brahmanas? Brahmanas means who? It is not that, say you are in a center, everybody is a Brahmana. Right now, if you are a leader, in those days also, like India has got about 20,000 bureaucrats who are the intelligentsia of India. All this UPSC and exams also, right? And IPS, IFS, IAS and all these exams. So from that, they've generated leaders for India, and they give intelligentsia. That intelligentsia gives guidance to the Prime Minister, President and the top people. Their guidance is taken very seriously by the PM, because they are thinking fellows, and they're concerned about the country. Many of them are supposed to be selfless also. Many of them actually lay down their body, mind for the country. They want to shape India into a very glorious country. So then the Prime Minister takes advice from them, bureaucrats. Now all 20,000 will not give advice. Amongst them also there are, just like we have GBC, which is like the, Prabhupada called it as a Ula Uma, we call it. Uma means ultimate managing authority. Ula means ultimate leading authority. Yeah. So, that is GBC. But in GBC also we have three or four people called as GBC EC, Executive Committee. And those 3-4 people also have one chairman in that. Right now His Holiness Bhakti Vaibhav Swami is the chairman now. Prior to that, His Holiness Bhakti Chara Swami was chairman before. So in this way, there is a GBC, GBC EC, and then there is chairman. And this body actually guides the whole world, like that. Similarly, in our centers also, student centers, we may have, if 40 devotees are staying, so maybe 4 or 5 may form a kind of body who actually are inspiring to all the other 40 people. And then one who is made leader should be willing to take their advice, take their inputs, and not make decisions sporadically, whimsically on his own, not caring for their suggestions. Correct, no? So that is like a Brahminical body one should make. Those who are really wise people, selfless people, non-fruitive people, pure-hearted people, they simply want Krishna, they don't want anything else. They are simply well-wishers of all the people. See, Prabhupada says the Brahmanas were advisors, not a single penny they would demand for giving advice. Nowadays, many a times you find even doctors for consultation, they take 5,000 rupees. Doctors. Of course, they don't give you any medicine also in that. It's only consultation. Yeah. Similarly, there are many bureaucrats, advisors. If you want advice on certain court cases and things like that, they take big money for the advice. But Brahmanas gave free advice to the kings for the welfare of all the praja. You can see that. So therefore, Chanakya was such an advisor for Chandragupta. He was living in the forest inside the jungle in a cottage he was living. He was not living in a palace. You can see that. So therefore, as he's saying here, even though the king may have an independent decision-making ability, he may have veto power also. Veto power means he may sometimes make a decision and institute it, but if he is doing it against the wish of the Brahmanas, in the long run, he will not flourish. He will perish. Because a good king should always consult. Like you see, Krishna is a good king. He is consulting Uddhava. He is the best mantri. And he wants to know, should I go to Rajasuya Yajna or should I go to finish Jarasandha? So he is asking. When as soon as that idea came, immediately Pradyumna, Aniruddha, all of them are jumping. They were very happy. Kshatriyas like war. They wanted to go and fight with Jarasandha. But Krishna said, wait a minute, let us hear from Uddhava. So Krishna is taking advice from Uddhava, you will see that. Actually, there are many examples you can give, Krishna seeking advice. Like when Krishna told Arjuna, you kill Ashwatthama. But then Draupadi wanted to say something and Krishna told Arjuna, okay, you wait. Please listen to Draupadi. And listen to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Listen to Nakul Sahadeva. So Krishna has a listening culture. Amazing. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna spoke or he listened? How many reasons Arjuna gave? 5 reasons. Krishna sat through in the chariot, listening to all the 5 reasons. Do you think Krishna was not so well informed, he is not having knowledge? The whole Bhagavad Gita was already sitting here, ready, waiting to come out. But he understood, unless you listen to people, therefore he has given us 2 ears to listen and 1 mouth to speak. So whenever somebody is bubbling with enthusiasm to say something, you listen first. So Krishna listened. And then when Arjuna, after speaking out everything, he crumbled down, he cried tears. He didn't know whether to fight or not fight and everything. Then Shishyasteham, he said, I become your Shishya. When Arjuna hired him, then Krishna spoke out. After that, till then he didn't speak at all. So Krishna is a good listener, very empathic listener, friendly listener, appreciative listener. And he has tremendous stamina of hearing. And he will ask questions to devotees also as if he doesn't know, many times you will find. So, very amazing personality. You can see how in Bhishma Pitama, he wanted to glorify him. Therefore, he arranged for Pandavas to go and hear from Bhishma rather than he himself giving advice. In Gita, he himself is giving advice to Arjuna. Whereas Vishnu Sahasranama was spoken by Bhishma Pitama and Rajadharma, everything. Why he did that? Because Krishna thought that Bhishma is the senior most Kshatriya ruler of his times. And now he is going to leave the body. So then Keti should happen. From such a great Kshatriya to the next Kshatriya who is going to take the rule of the world. So he arranged for knowledge transfer. And also, Bhishma at the end spoke Bhagavata Dharma also, which is Vishnu Sahasranama he spoke, glorified the Lord. So, actually, Lord will never glorify himself. But if when he glorifies, the whole world benefits. So, Vishnu Sahasranama was spoken by the great Mahajana, Bhishma Pitama, and heard by Lord Krishna, sitting right in front of him, smiling, just in front of him. And the whole world received the benefit. You can see. So, as a king, Krishna himself didn't decide on things on his own. always consulted. So we have to learn from Krishna many things. One of the things is that let us also be open-minded. If mind is open, it functions better, like a parachute. Parachute functions better when it is closed or open. Imagine you are a closed leader, you don't listen to anybody, then if you are holding a parachute, it is not opening, what will happen? We will break our head. In skydiving, you see, skydiving, people have died also. When parachute. So there are many people who don't listen to anybody. We can give examples of people who never listen. Daksha Prajapati was told, don't go out of the assembly. Many great souls are sitting here, he didn't listen. He walked out. He got a goat head eventually. You will see that. And Ravana was given good advice to Vibhishan. Did you hear? Vinashakale, got destroyed. Kamsa had Akrura as minister. Did he listen to him? He told Akrura, you get Krishna Balram. He wanted to kill. He had his own idea what he wants to do. He only listened to ministers who were yes men surrounding him. He got destroyed. So if we don't listen and we make our own decisions, then we will be like the engine without any bogies. So engine is going ahead, nobody is behind. Unshared vision. Therefore, the king along with the minister should make a decision. And the ministers have many followers in the praja also, they have appreciative. So when similarly you will find when you are leading a center, say you have 4 or 5 devotees who are considered as heroic, very advanced in something, people are attracted to them. So if these 4 or 5 people are with you, then the others are also with you. They also flow. But if 4 or 5 people are unenthusiastic about your decision, then they are not going to motivate the people below. Then the project will not come out so well. Therefore, it is always good to be respectful to the grown-ups and mature ones and who have spent many years, and to taking their viewpoint is very important. And Srila Prabhupada did that with his GBCs and his intimate disciples. He asked many suggestions from His Holiness Ramakrishna Maharaj, His Holiness Sachidadas Maharaj. Prabhupada asked many of them. He was always open-minded to receive suggestions from them. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Thank you very much. Actually, now it is 9:15 because